Welcome to Building on a Budget Models for the third part of the Tamiya Nissan Skyline R34 build. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell button to stay notified for future builds. Firstly, the holes for the racing seatbelts were filled, so I used a micro drill and a small standing stick to open them up. I wasn't going to put a 5-point harness in there, but I just didn't like the way it looked with those holes filled up. And if you did want to do a racing conversion, that would be a very important factor. A micro drill is a very important tool for scale model building. Next, I decided to do some semi-gloss blue accents to the seats. The initial designs had a very period-esque grey and black mix, which I was going to generally keep the same, but decided to replace some of the greys with this semi-gloss blue to just add a little bit of character to the interior. When these parts had dried, I used a 10mm Tamiya masking tape to cover them up. The width for these sections was already exactly right, but I just pressed in with tweezers and then used a craft knife to just trim around the edges. I did this to some of the other sections of the interior and then gave it 3 coats of semi-gloss black spray paint, which I got from Wilkinson. This gave it a really nice sort of leather plastic sort of look. Be careful to make sure that it's nearly completely dry before peeling it off, as that gives you the least chance of peeling off the black paint. Where it left a little bit of the exposed white, I touched it up with a little bit of black paint later on. Having the fine pointed tweezers are very useful for this kind of job. I decided to use the alternative number plates with the GTR logo to give some logos to the headrest section of the seat. These are probably a little bit bigger than they would be in real life, but I thought it was a nice little touch and something which you could easily do if you were building this kit. I used a little bit of micro set and sol, but the black colour was perfect match and it went on seamlessly. I used a little bit of Revell aluminium for the gear sticks around. Having a very fine brush really helps with these kind of interior details. I then went on to using my felt method to carpet the floors. I decided to use some medium grey. If you want to see a full tutorial for this, please click the link which is appearing on screen now. I'm simply using nail scissors for these parts here. It's important to do a test fit before gluing them in. And these were put into place with just a little bit of PVA. I thought about using this same technique for the parcel shelf at the back, but I decided that the felt would be too thick and it would ruin the look, so I decided to just leave it in the semi-gloss black. I then used a very fine Tamiya brush to add some more aluminium paint to the centre console. This went around the ashtray and the CD player area. The instrument dials are very nicely printed, but actually because of the recessed nature of the dashboard, it's quite awkward to move them around, so try to get them in the right place straight away. There's also a small GTR logo for the digital display screen, something which was very ahead of its time for 1999. I then added the gear stick, which was done in semi-gloss black. The steering wheel also had a small GTR logo. All of these fit incredibly well. I then used the same very fine brush to do some little aluminium accents to the holes for the racing harness. I decided to just do these on the front of the seat. However, if you wanted to, you could also add them to the backs of the seats as well. I then used a little bit of dark wash just to add a little bit of shading to the blue accents of the seats. Some of the brush strokes on the blue were a little visible, but I decided that this was supposed to be a textured fabric anyway. After doing a test fit of the seats, I used a little super glue to fit them into place. Pretty happy with that. I realised that I'd forgotten to add the handbrake, but as I went to add it, this happened. Fortunately, the gear stick didn't travel too far, and I was able to glue it back in more securely this time. I used some 2mm thick satin black ribbon to simulate some seatbelts. Decided not to add buckles as the belts on their own would barely be visible. It was just a small touch just for my own, fastidiousness. Just used some small dabs of super glue to fit the ones onto the back seats. Start by gluing them onto the top, and then push them down into place using the tweezers. I also bought some resin seatbelt sockets, which I'd used previously in my XJ220 build. Just coloured them black and then gave them a little red top and stuck them into the middle of the driver's and passenger's seats. I'm really happy with the moulding of these parts. I think they look really realistic. And here's the finished car interior. I'm pretty happy with this. When I looked at reference pictures of the real one, I think this looks pretty realistic. Let me know what you think in the comments, if you would have done it stock or if you'd made any changes to it. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Final build will be up soon. Thanks for watching. Please comment, like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.